You know, I'll flatten that anyway when I get in the ring with him anyway. But all I want to say to Carl, I'm not getting into it with him. I just think he's had plenty to say, but he's messing with a game old boy. Get me £2.5 million contract, I'll sign on the dotted line, and let's get it on. We don't need to a long time away, because at 61 I ain't got that long. But let me tell you something, with me.
Fits guys do, they have a go. They're not real boxers per se. Maybe that's why they're doing, or that is why they are in the Misfits umbrella. They're fighting under that umbrella. There's a market for it. People love to see it for whatever the reason. You know, I'm sure the one I want to see.
But this don't happen. They just ban you from going to the show. Carl sport aren't allowed to go to boxing anymore. For me, that's ludicrous.
Listen, question: where do you think that Tyson Fury sits in you know, in this current modern era? His CV, where does it sit in this current modern era when you're talking about resumes? And you know,
John Fury has once again thrown himself into boxing's latest controversy, and this time, the name attached to the drama is Carl Froch. What started with heated words, shocking threats, a confrontation, and a lawsuit has now taken another unbelievable turn.
Fight. I'm going to fight, you know, because at the end of the day, that's what I do. And what I want to do, really, is make history. I'll be the first 61-year-old man in history to ever take on a 3-time Hall of Famer in Carl Froch. I can't wait. I can't wait.
John Fury appears ready to accept the challenge, but he isn't exactly walking into it quietly. He wants his prize first. At 61, John Fury isn't asking for sympathy. He's talking like a man determined to turn controversy.
When I see him, we're going to fight. Because I'll screw off and smash all his teeth out. I will.
This is what we're living with.
This is what we're living with. It's gone too far.
Yeah.
It's gone too far. Because he said to me, I'm going to come there Saturday night and batter you. I'll be waiting for you, I said, Mr. Froch. Leave it till Tommy's fight's out the way. And I was looking around. The minute Tommy's fight was announced, I was looking around for him. I thought, okay, let's have it on. Because I've been in that many fights in my life. I've been punched in the head 1,000 times in my life.
You don't want to get nicked. It's not the right example we set.
It's not the right example, but look, you can't look like a pussy, can you?
I can't.
That's not what I am.
No.
Listen, Carl will land a big cobra right on me to knock me cold out. But I'll tell you what, you won't have to look for me to do it. You know, if I get tucked down, hands up, and getting close, keep chopping away, I'm a big...
Into one final chapter of his story. The lawsuit involving Carl Froch has only added another layer to an already explosive feud, and now John seems willing to put everything on the line. He has repeatedly suggested that he isn't afraid of Froch.
And I don't blame Tommy Fury one bit for making money. But by that same token, you got to question his ambitions on being, or calling himself, a legitimate boxer. I mean, he still ain't fought anybody of any real note, and maybe that's because he's limited. But, you know, like I said, I don't really...
Even while acknowledging exactly what the former world champion is capable of. Instead of backing away from the danger, John Fury appears to be daring it to come closer. But Carl Froch isn't playing along. The Cobra has repeatedly insisted that he never wanted this confrontation. Yet he continues to address the situation, making it clear that some of John...
Nonsense, and he'd like to play the Cobra down, but he can't because I've got the backing. I've got the credentials. You know what I'm saying? He can't rubbish the Cobra and say that I don't deserve to be where I'm at. And
Fury's comments went far beyond ordinary boxing trash talk. Froch has particularly taken issue with threats involving prison, arguing that those comments were genuinely offensive rather than simply heated banter. And despite John Fury later apologizing, Froch doesn't appear willing to erase everything that happened simply.
I make them rich because I don't like them. People you don't like, you're never going to put money in their pockets. So the fights will never take place. But one thing I can say, both men, Carl Froch, Joe Egan, you know where I live. I'll always come out with my shirt off, you know, because that's what kind of a guy I am. I'm bred to it. It's a generation and culture I'm from. We fight. But that's by and by. The main reason this morning...
Because an apology was eventually offered. That creates one of the strangest contradictions in this entire saga. John Fury goes from explosive threats to apologies, then back to talking about fighting. One moment, he's acting like nothing can touch him. The next, he's admitting that the situation became complete pandemonium. And boxing pundits...
The fights will never take place, but one thing I can say, both men, Carl Froch, Joe Egan, you know where I live. I'll always come out with my shirt off, you know, because that's what kind of a guy I am. I'm bred to it.
have certainly noticed. Some have mocked John Fury's unusual way of talking about his family and fatherhood, arguing that the bizarre behavior only adds to the spectacle surrounding him. The criticism is becoming increasingly difficult for John Fury to escape, because every apology raises another question. Was it genuine remorse? Or was it...
And if he does it again and he's over, he's going to get fined again. And I don't know if it's by the pound, by the ounce, what he's getting fined for, but that's it's an expensive miscalculation.
Simply the realization that the consequences had finally become too serious to ignore. Johnny Nelson has been among those taking aim at John Fury's repeated outbursts, joking about the fines that seem to follow whenever the situation gets out of control. His point is simple. The tough guy image can become very expensive when the behavior repeatedly crosses the line. Robert Smith has also confirmed...
It was quite threatening, actually, and quite... You know, if I was a bit of a snowflake, then I'd have been upset, I'd have been offended by it, because it was threatening, he was calling it on, and he was saying basically, watch your back, and you don't want to go back to prison. So he needs to be careful, doesn't he? When he's talking about going back to prison.
That John Fury's conduct went beyond words. Physical contact took place, and the incident became serious enough for the boxing authorities to address it formally. That changes the entire conversation. Trash talk is one thing, threats are another. But when physical confrontation enters the picture, governing bodies have little choice.
The reason that I like that little bit of beef, right? One is because I'm not involved. And two, because Carl's not the kind of geezer who you can start saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And if I see you, because you can say that to me, I'm a wet lettuce. You can't say that to Carl Froch.
An emotional being, gets into the moment, forgets himself. You can see, excuse the bad language, but this is, you know, when you see that, this is the moment when he realised he beat up. It was that, you know, when John had done it, like, shit, what have I done? But he had to own it. I think the pressure was on. The pressure is now on John to behave himself. He's distracted. A lot of attention and talk.
Voice, but to respond. And that's why John Fury's apologies have received so much scrutiny. Eddie Hearn has also laughed at what he sees as a massive mismatch between the two men. Hearn has repeatedly emphasized that Carl Froch is not somebody you can casually threaten and expect there to be no consequences. Froch isn't simply a former boxer with a famous name. He's a former world champion who fought elite opposition.
Put yourself on him.
And done all the wrong things.
All right.
So instead of going forward, stand back.
If
instead of doing a lot of things,
why do you think throughout his career and build a reputation as one of Britain's toughest fighters? Hearn's message is clear. John Fury may be confident, but Carl Froch has already proven himself against some of the best fighters in the world. Duke McKenzie has taken an equally harsh view of John Fury's behavior. To McKenzie, the constant shouting, threats, and chaos...
that's gone pretty viral. I had 15 seconds still on air, and when we went on air, I kept it professional. I addressed the big idiot, John Fury, and then we got on with our job. So we've got a job to do there in the studio at the broadcasting. So that's what we did. And Big John was ranting and raving, making a mug of himself, and he can't
eventually become a form of theater. The problem is that theater stops being entertaining when real people start pushing back. And Carl Froch has every reason to push back. McKenzie has pointed toward Froch's victory over George Groves as evidence of the danger involved. Groves was a world-class fighter, and Froch still possessed enough power to change a fight with one punch. That kind of natural power doesn't simply disappear. An apology doesn't erase it either.
Over it, you know, I watched it back and you know what, where was I? Where the hell was I don't know, you know, but the emotions run high when people just won't leave you alone. They torment you all the time, 24 hours a day, thinking they're going to get a paycheck. But let me tell you, people you don't like, you're not going to put money in.
Eric Kazora has offered a slightly more sympathetic perspective, suggesting that John Fury's fierce protectiveness toward his children is understandable. But even Kazora has struggled to defend the methods used during the controversy. His message is essentially that John Fury should settle genuine grudges in the ring rather than creating chaos everywhere else. Tony Bellew has been even more direct. Bellew has suggested that he would have immediately stopped his own father from behaving.
Just go back and forward with him and yada yada yada, saying he's deluded and all that. I'm just gonna pray for him, and I'm gonna ask God to help him. He obviously needs the help, and yeah, I'm not getting involved in pettiness.
In the way John Fury did, describing the entire episode as a terrible look for boxing. Coming from a former world champion, that criticism carries plenty of weight. Then Dave Allen delivered another reality check. Allen acknowledged that John Fury remains fit and athletic, but questioned the idea that he should be considered a serious world-class boxing threat. It's a blunt assessment that cuts through the bravado.
Nonsense, and he'd like to play the Cobra down, but he can't because I've got the backing, I've got the credentials. You know what I'm saying? He can't rubbish the Cobra and say that I don't deserve to be where I'm at. And
being tough isn't the same as being an elite fighter. Frank Warren has also addressed the aftermath, explaining that he witnessed John Fury walking away with a visible cut after the situation spiraled out of control. Whatever the original argument was about, nobody wanted to see things reach that point. Eddie Hearn described the entire episode as over-the-top and deeply personal, while also admitting the uncomfortable truth that controversy creates attention. But attention can come at a cost. For John Fury, the price may be his credibility.
Cuthead. Look, that's not what we want. I don't want to see that happen. No one does. But I understand now both sides have made it up. They've apologised. So hopefully it's all in the past and we can concentrate what everybody's out here for, which is a...
And now, Dominic Ingle has delivered perhaps the most straightforward prediction of all. If John Fury and Carl Froch ever actually meet, Ingle believes Froch would win without much difficulty. Maybe that's why this story has become so fascinating. John Fury has the confidence. He has the personality. He has the willingness to make the challenge. Carl Froch has something else. Proven championship.
I'll always come out with my shirt off, you know, because that's what kind of a guy I am. I'm bred to it. It's a generation and culture I'm from. We fight. But that's by and by. The main reason this morning, apologies to Steve Bunce. I'm heartbroken over it. You know, I watched it back and you know what, where was I? Where the hell was I? I don't know, you know, but the emotions run high when people just won't leave you alone. They torment you all the time, 24 hours a day, thinking they're going to get a paycheck. But let me tell you, people you don't like, you're not going to put money in pockets, are you? You know, and I think Netflix was out of order.
Level experience. After the lawsuit, the threats, the confrontation, the fines, the apologies, and the endless arguments, the biggest question remains unanswered. Will these two men ever actually settle their differences inside a ring? Because if John Fury truly accepts the challenge, the talking finally has to stop. And once the bell rings, there will be nowhere